Imagine a world, maybe our world right now, where the biggest geopolitical shifts are happening, well, in the shadows, where secrets are the real power, and where a whole continent is suddenly asserting itself in ways we've just never seen before. What if I told you there's a unit, a clandestine unit, operating completely off the grid? Beyond any public eye, its existence is secret. Until now. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this recent classified leak. It's about the One Africa Army's covert shadow unit Zulu. And look, this isn't just rumor. We're talking about highly sensitive info leaked by someone called Protocol Black, an anonymous, apparently high-level AU technician. It came out through Supreme Africa Breaking News, SABN. And crucially, it seems to be backed up by insiders, people like General Umoja, the top military figure, and Chairman Shadow, an AU strategist. So our mission here is to unpack this. What is this unit? What's its purpose, its methods, and what does it all mean for Africa and really for the rest of the world? Consider this your shortcut to understanding something really complex, maybe even game-changing. Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it, how fast this went from whispers to, well, this, Shadow Unit Zulu. And you have to understand, this isn't your typical army unit, not at all. It's described as a covert assassination unit, deployed by the OAA, the One Africa Army. Their core mission, it's not fighting wars. It's stated very, very bluntly, to erase those sabotaging the One Africa government from the inside and outside.
Erase. That word just jumps out. It's incredibly stark. So how does a unit like this with such an extreme mandate even get authorized?
Yes.
Especially if it's all secret.
Well, the sources, Protocol Black and the others, they indicate it was approved under something called the Emergency Powers Mandate, part of the African Unity Charter. Apparently, this was revised back at the 2025 Addis Security Convention.
Okay.
And here's the key part. Its activities are not subject to parliamentary disclosure, none at all. It's overseen directly by a body nobody even knew existed before this leak, the Continental Special Threat Council.
A secret council overseeing a secret unit.
Exactly, and General Umoja had this quote, really chilling. These are the ghosts that keep the dream alive.
Ghosts. Wow. And we're already seeing signs of their work, right? These aren't just hypotheticals anymore, these disappearances.
That's right. The first real evidence emerged quite quickly. You had 3 top-level cybersecurity contractors from Ghana, Tunisia, Ethiopia, all vanished within just 11 days.
And the link between them.
The crucial link. They were all working on protecting something called the AFRU database, which sounds like this massive, vital data infrastructure for the One Africa government. And critically, all 3 had apparently submitted reports warning about unauthorized foreign access to its servers.
So definitely not random. They flagged a problem, and then they vanished. The details are, well, they're pretty grim.
They are. One was found dead in Nairobi. The report says no fingerprints, no footage, no trace, just gone. The second vanished from a hotel room in Rabbit, last seen talking to someone in AU military fatigues.
Okay.
And the third contractor's car exploded right outside a private embassy in Addis Ababa.
So violent, sudden, and traceless. What did the local authorities say?
Officially, local police ruled them non-political. Standard procedure, perhaps. But SABN quoted an anonymous AU advisor who put it very differently. The advisor said, "We're past the stage of talking. This is survival. They attack with fake news. We respond with erasure."
Respond with erasure. There's that word again. It really frames this as a kind of internal war footing. So who are these operatives? Who makes up Shadow Unit Zulu?
Right, the people actually doing this. The unit itself, sources say, was formed back in April 2025, and their training regime tells you a lot about their capabilities. We're talking top secret locations, the Lotho Mountains for what's described as alpine stealth tactics and wilderness erasure, the Mogadishu coast for amphibious black ops and maritime infiltration, and Djibouti. That's where they apparently got training in satellite hacking and counter-intel drills, reportedly with some foreign advisors involved.
Foreign advisors?
Yeah.
Interesting. And the recruits themselves, not just regular soldiers, I gather.
No, definitely not. The leak suggests they're handpicked from places like military prisons, intelligence exiles, even battlefield ghosts, people who officially might not even exist. They have no rank, their uniforms are unmarked. And if they get caught, total disavowal.
Just like in the spy movies.
Pretty much. General Umoja put it bluntly. No flag, no badge, just the mission. And their motto, it kind of sums it all up, doesn't it? See nothing, leave nothing, erase everything.
Chilling. Erase everything. Okay, so who are they targeting? This erasure. Who's on the list?
Protocol Black apparently leaked a redacted kill list. It gives us a picture. Even with parts blacked out, the targets are diverse. You've got foreign intelligence operatives posing as NGO workers,
Okay.
African billionaires who are accused of funding anti-One Africa propaganda, even rogue AU members leaking blueprints, presumably for things like Adferold.
Inside threats to them.
Absolutely. Also, military officials caught trying to smuggle data to foreign powers. And interestingly, journalists, specifically journalists reportedly working on exposés about the AU's underground server vaults.
So it's incredibly broad. Spies, dissidents, leakers, even journalists digging too deep. The source called this continental sanitization. That sounds systematic.
It does. And there's this one incident mentioned that really illustrates the point. A South African media firm, they were supposedly putting together a documentary called Inside One Africa's Dark Files. Suddenly, their entire operation went offline for 72 hours.
Just dark.
Completely dark. And when they came back online, the editors publicly denied the project ever existed.
Wow. That's not just physical removal, that's memory holing an entire project. Okay, this obviously raises huge ethical flags. Legality, transparency. What's the official AU line, would journalists ask?
The official line is silence, basically, a consistent refusal to confirm or deny the unit's existence. One official was quoted saying something like, "We are at war not with guns but with influence. In war, some things are better left unsaid."
A non-denial denial. What about Chairman Shadow, the strategist?
He was much more direct. His quote was stark. "Let the world scream human rights. We're choosing African survival over foreign applause."
Choosing survival over applause. That's a powerful and potentially dangerous justification. Human rights groups must be sounding the alarm.
They are. They're demanding transparency, calling the unit Africa's ghost CIA. But so far, silence from AU headquarters.
Right. But it seems like the unit isn't just about physical erasure. There's a psychological element, too.
Oh, definitely. The leaks suggest a significant psychological warfare component. PSYOPs. Things like leaking fake stories to bait enemies to see who reacts, infecting digital files with code that makes them self-destruct,
Yes.
and sending encrypted threats, direct messages with names, GPS coordinates, even banking details. Pure intimidation, plus disabling security systems remotely, maybe just before physical operation, to add to the confusion and fear.
There was that one specific anecdote, wasn't there? About the Zambian senator.
Yes, that one really stands out. Apparently, he received a single image file. It was a photo of his wife shopping at a market, time-stamped, and the caption just read, "We see you, so do your enemies. Choose wisely."
Chills. That's terrifying. He resigned shortly after, right?
Reportedly, yes. It perfectly illustrates that level of surveillance and psychological pressure. There was another quote from a former spy who supposedly fled to Switzerland. He said, "Shadow Unit Zulu plays chess in the dark, and you only realize you're the pawn when you've already been sacrificed."
Chess in the dark. So how do they operate so effectively, so unseen? What allows them to just erase and vanish?
A lot of it seems to come down to their technology and methods. They reportedly use something called black hole technology.
Sounds like science fiction.
It does, but it's apparently a military term. It refers to using totally off-grid communication systems, EMP jammers, to disrupt local electronics, creating temporary blackout zones during missions, basically making themselves electronically invisible.
Okay, so that covers the vanish part. What about the erase part, the tools they use?
Very specialized, according to the leak. Things like one-time use drones that self-destruct after their mission, leaving no wreckage. Voice-altering masks to impersonate targets or other individuals. Chemical silencers, ways to induce death that leave no obvious trace, fooling standard autopsies.
Chemical silencers.
And even nano-trackers, tiny, like a grain of rice. Supposedly capable of being implanted via something as simple as a handshake.
That is some next-level tech. No wonder analysts are impressed.
Exactly. One European defense analyst was quoted saying something like, "They make MSID look like amateurs." And MSID is considered pretty top tier.
So if this unit is real and this effective, what's the impact on the continent itself? Inside Africa, is it hunter or tyrant?
That's the huge question, isn't it? The immediate impact, according to sources, is tangible. Opposition spies are disappearing. Media whistleblowers are going quiet. Foreign tech contractors are probably thinking twice before trying to plant malware in AU systems.
A chilling effect, definitely.
Right, and there's this powerful statement floating around in the analysis. Africa is no longer the hunted, it has become the hunter. A fundamental shift in posture.
But how is that shift being perceived? Is it seen as necessary protection or
Right.
the start of something darker?
Opinions seem sharply divided based on the snippets we have. You have voices like Mama Pan-Africa, described as a civilian safety advocate, warning, power without people becomes tyranny. We must watch this force closely.
Unnecessary caution.
Absolutely. But then you hear from, say, a university student in Kigali who reportedly told a source, "For once, I feel protected by something bigger than my own flag." A sense of security, perhaps, that wasn't there before?
Protection versus tyranny. That's the tightrope they're walking. What about outside Africa? The rest of the world must be reacting.
Oh, big time. The leaks suggest serious international alarm, panic even. There's mention of a leaked MI6 cable, British intelligence, calling the unit, and I quote, "the most dangerous unregulated force in African history."
Strong words from MI6.
Very. And French intelligence. Allegedly, they've started quietly withdrawing some diplomats from key African posts, Algeria, Senegal, Kenya, citing undisclosed threat levels, pulling people back.
And the U.S., the CIA.
This is perhaps the most stunning part. The CIA has reportedly launched a specific counter-black ops desk just to deal with this, and an internal CIA report supposedly admitted, "We do not currently know who leads Shadow Unit Zulu or how to intercept them."
They admitted they can't intercept them.
That's what the leak claims. It goes on. It is the first time the U.S. has publicly acknowledged powerlessness against an African covert unit. It's unprecedented.
Acknowledged powerlessness. Wow. So was this always the plan? Did this unit come out of nowhere, or was it baked in from the start?
Well, according to some insiders cited in the leaks, this wasn't some sudden reactive measure. They claim it was planned. They point to a hidden clause supposedly inserted into the 2024 One Africa Constitution. It was called the Sovereign Protection Protocol.
Hidden. Never debated publicly.
Apparently not. And this protocol allegedly authorized some pretty extreme things. Extra legal action to protect continental assets, the use of non-documented personnel for internal threats, and even explicitly mentioned preemptive eliminations in cases of strategic sabotage.
Preemptive eliminations. Authorized in the Constitution, albeit secretly. When was it activated?
The sources say it was triggered after the 13th major cyber attack on those AfroWorld servers. That happened in 2025. That was the catalyst. Chairman Shadow, again, had a justification ready. A government without the power to defend itself isn't a government, it's a dream, implying this power is necessary for survival.
And now it seems they're moving beyond just physical and psychological tactics into the digital realm.
Exactly. The unit's scope is reportedly expanding. They're now said to be fighting threats like AI manipulation of African election data.
Okay, that's cutting edge.
And digital cloning of AU diplomats, creating fake online personas, also tackling online infiltration of AfroWorld trading platforms, supposedly by Western shell companies trying to gain access.
So the battlefield is shifting online.
It really is. The sources even mention collaboration. Shadow Unit Zulu is reportedly working with China's Red Firewall unit, getting training specifically on cyber purging techniques.
Partnering with China on cyber defense, or offense, that fits the narrative that the next war is fought in code, not blood.
Precisely. And there are strong rumors tied to this about a massive new continental cybersecurity project. They're calling it Afrofire.
Afrofire.
Yeah, positioned as Africa's answer to the Great Firewall of China, a huge digital shield for the continent.
So taking all this together, Shadow Unit Zulu, the Sovereign Protection Protocol, Afrofire, this isn't just defense, is it? It feels like a statement.
I think that's exactly how it's framed by those defending it. It's a message. The message is, Africa has reached a stage where it no longer negotiates its destiny, it enforces it. They see Shadow Unit Zulu not as the start of tyranny, but as the, quote, birth of strategic deterrence. Africa's showing it has teeth, and it's willing to bite, even in the shadows.
It fundamentally changes the game. And General Umoja's final quote in the leak seems to capture that perfectly.
It does. He reportedly said, "We are not declaring war, we are declaring presence. Africa is awake and the world will feel it in the shadows. Let the world watch. Let Africa rise."
Declaring presence. A powerful, maybe ominous endnote. So the emergence of Shadow Unit Zulu, if these leaks are accurate, signals a massive shift, a critical change in how Africa operates, how it sees itself, and how it intends to secure its future. It's a continent moving from being acted upon to acting decisively, using unseen power. It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What are the real costs and the supposed benefits when survival is pursued through such secret, unaccountable means? And what does this kind of assertion of power mean for sovereignty, not just in Africa, but globally, in a world that's more connected, yet perhaps more fractured than ever? Something to consider.